Namaste everyone, welcome back to Dr. Pai's Astrology channel. Today we have back with us very sweet and lovely Kṣaṇāti. Namaste Kṣaṇāti, welcome back.
Namaste, Navjeet. I'm so excited to be back to conclude our lecture on the Dharma of the Nakshatras. Thank you for having me back.
Thank you so much. Everybody's really enjoying this series and enjoying the nakshatras and the research that you've done. That's wonderful. And today we are continuing with Shravana, Dhanishta, and Shatabhisha. So over to you, Kṣaṇāti.
Thank you, Navji. I was just discussing with Nav, I'm actually going to be presenting the Dharma of the Nakshatra into an intensive whole day of lectures at the Sedona Maharishi Parashara Conference, which will be hosted in Sedona in August. Look for tickets soon. Dr. Arjun Pai will also have a whole day to present on a topic of his choosing, and there will be many other great teachers there, Eve Mendoza, Camilla Sutton, Sarbani, and Sanjay Rath. So hopefully you will join us in Sedona, Arizona in August. If it's just letting you all know so you can start to make some plans.
Lovely. I'm super excited.
It'll be nice to all be together. Okay, so I'm going to do a quick chant to my guru, Amajit, so that she may bless our time together, and then I'll get started. Oh, oh. Tvameva tacha pita tvameva, tvameva bandhu tasaka tvameva, tvameva vijja dravanam tvameva, tvameva sarvam amriteshware nama, tvameva sarvam amriteshware nama, tvameva sarvam Mata Amritananda Mahima Maharani ki Jai Hari Om Om Namah Shivaya. Namaste, everyone. So excited to be back here. Let's start with Shravana Nakshatra. So, Shravana, as we get into these Capricorn Nakshatras, you'll notice some themes that are coming out about career, finances, prosperity, and the expansion of Artabhava, our relationship with the material world. Now, Shravana Nakshatra is in the heart of Capricorn and starts at the 10th degree and goes to 23.2 degrees of Capricorn. It is influenced by the moon, Chandra, and its symbol or meaning is the ear because Shravana means to listen or to hear. And the common deity I like to associate with this nakshatra is Vishnu. Now, understanding Shravana and the Dharma of Shravana Nakshatra, it's important to understand that it's a lot deeper than success in career. I mean, it usually can have that effect, but that's not really what it's about. The Shravana Dharma is really about preservation because we have Vishnu's influence, we have Capricorn's influence. So understanding the Dharma of Danish of Shravana Nakshatra is preservation. So what is preservation? Well, it's all about our Artabhava relationship, which is our ability to provide for others and to provide for ourselves. But that's a misnomer because it is never us who is actually providing. It is always God who is doing the providing. So really, Shravana Nakshatra is about this relationship with God and understanding that any gift that we receive in life, it is only by God's grace that we receive that gift. Now, why is Shravana Nakshatra associated with the ear and with the hearing? Because in a lot of times in our modern world, we're told what security is. Security is having your needs met, but we are told what our needs are. Like, we need this amount of money in this bank account. We need this amount of job security. We need health insurance. We need dental. We need these benefits. Like, that's what we think that security is. But to truly understand what our needs are, and what other people's needs are, we have to listen. And that is why hearing is associated with Shravana and the ear. Because the true Dharma of Shravana Nakshatra is to fulfill one's needs. Now, the age-old saying is that we can't love someone else if we don't love ourselves. We also can't take care of someone else if we can't take care of ourselves. This is a deep lesson of Shravana Nakshatra because, and that's moon influence on Shravana is that we want to take care of the whole world. We want to take care of our family. We want to make sure that all our needs are taken care of. Sometimes we want to take care of the planet or we want to take care of society. And all of these are important influential factors in the Dharma of Shravana. But we have to separate, this is an important lesson for the Shravana Dharma. We have to separate what we're told are our needs and what our needs truly are. Because our needs do not have a numerical value. It's not like, oh, we make $100,000 a year and all of a sudden our needs are met. No, we have emotional needs and we have spiritual needs. And I also talked about with Shravana how important it is to cultivate a relationship with God because if we don't, then we think that because we're meeting our needs and we're meeting other people's needs, that that means something special about us. It can infatuate our ego. But actually, the role of being the provider, the role of being the caretaker is a blessing from God. So it's important dharma of Shravana Nakshatra to understand that your ability to achieve stability and security in your life, as well as your ability to help other people in their lives, like your family members, your loved one, your partner, your children, your family, feel stable and secure, is actually a duty. See, here's a perfect example of a lesson with Shravana Nakshatra. Oftentimes, they are family oriented. This is the moon's influence. They care about their family. They are the providers. I know many people that have a strong Shravana position and they take care of their parents. They take care of their children. They take care of their wife. And they make a lot of funds. And let's say the other family members don't. And this is a funny thing. They expect to be applauded. Oh, well, I'm taking care of you, so I need a pat on the back. I need you to, oh, I'm providing for you, so I need my children to appreciate me. I need my parents to always be kind and easy with me. I need my, partner to do the cooking and the cleaning because I'm the one that's providing. And it's like, get a hold of yourself, Shravana, because it's really, really about that it's a blessing that God has put you in this position that you're able to take care of others. And when it is truly something that is your dharma, and we're talking about dharma here, then you don't need to be applauded for it because it is your duty, and that's between you and God. You don't need to get a cookie every time you are able to provide a meal for your family. You don't need to get, all the rejoicing in the world because you're able to send your kid to college. So the true dharma of Shravana Nakshatra is to fulfill your role to provide stability and security in the life of everyone you love without needing your ego inflated. Without needing your ego inflated, that's a really big part because that keeps the success, which is associated with Shravana, very high. If you're doing something because you want to be applauded for it, the Dharma of the Shravana Nakshatra will not be activated unless success is guaranteed. So you might be watching this video and say, I'm Shravana and I'm not wealthy. Well, it's not necessarily about money because it could be in all different houses. But if you want the Shravana Karma Palam, the fruit of Shravana Nakshatra to be activated, you have to do what you're doing out of the duty, out of the goodness of your heart, not because you want something in return. So this is important. Now, when we get associated with the ear of Shravana Nakshatra, we have to listen to our needs here, right? So one of the things that's common with Shravana, for example, is that they can be workaholic. They can be addicted to the job. They could be addicted to finances. They could be addicted to the material side of life. But it's to truly listen to your heart because of the moon's influence here and listen to your soul about what your needs actually are. And these needs might not be as material as you would think, right? So it's important to understand this concept, to understand that the needs might not be as material as you think. Like, first of all, if you're working all the time, are you there to have dinner with your family? See, we can think that we need to work so hard and do all these things and focus on our 10th house energy and the material work, and we're at work 18 hours a day. But are you there to spend time with your children? Are you there to spend time with your wife or husband? How about your parents who took care of you, who gave you stability and security in your life? Well, you can't just ignore them because you're successful. That goes against the Dharma of Shravana Nakshatra. So it's really also about understanding that we have to listen to our needs, and it includes to be with our children and our partners. It includes to be with our parents. It includes to be with friends and have a social life too. It's really about the balance. See, that's the Dharma of Shravana Nakshatra. It's the balance between the material and having your other needs met too. And the true dharmically evolved Shravana Nakshatra native, yeah, they're hard workers and they're successful and all of these things. But guess what? They also are family oriented. They spend time with their parents. They spend time with their children. They have a social life. They go out on the weekends and they go to sporting events and concerts and they go to the temple. And remember, all of this is coming from God. So if you're just focusing on the material part of life and not going to temple and not going to pray and not meditating and doing tapas and doing mantra, then you are also ignoring the Dharma of Shravana Nakshatra. So before I talk about like this other aspect, which is how we take care of others, there's that important aspect of understanding with Shravana Nakshatra, which is taking care of ourselves and truly listening to what our needs are. And it's not just our jobs, career, and money. It has to do with our family and our loved ones and the social life and the balance of all of these things. Now, also in ear is listening to others. Here's the perfect example of a Shravana father. I'm a Shravana father, and my kid is graduating high school, and I really think that they should go to Harvard College because this is going to give them a great career and they will be very successful. Well, guess what? Maybe your child likes to cook. And maybe they want to work in culinary arts, right? Maybe your child is a creative type and they want to act and they want to be in play. We have to listen to what other people's needs are. We can't tell people what their needs are. You could say, oh, well, I am a businessman because I'm a Shravana person and I think that all my children should go to Harvard Business School. Well, guess what? That's not listening because then you're not fulfilling God's duty for you, which is to provide people what they need. See, there's a big distinction here between helping other people with what they need versus what you want for them. So the true Dharma of Shravana Nakshatra is to listen to your wife, You might like to go to the football game, but she wants to go to the orchestra. So you take her to the orchestra. That is a good Shravana partner. You want to go to the business school. You want your child to go to business school, but they want to go to acting or culinary school. Send them to acting or culinary school. That is the Dharma of Shravana Nakshatra. Your parents, they're getting older, and maybe it's hard for you to be able to be present in their life and take care of them. So you're considering, because it's convenient for you, to send them away to an old person home. Well, guess what? If they're mentally fit and they don't want to go to an old person home, you have to listen to that. It doesn't mean you have to be their primary caretaker, but you can hire an in-home nurse to help take care of them. But sending them away against their will, that is the trap of Shravana Nakshatra. The true Dharma of Shravana Nakshatra is to listen and and to accept that you don't know what other people need. First of all, there's this evolution of Shravana that you have to deeply listen to yourself to understand what you need. So it's very, very important that you listen to others, because often Shravana has this opportunity to be able to give people what they want or to give people what they need. So it's the A Dharma. It's the opposite of this nakshatra's energy to give them what you think they need. You have to listen to them and give them what they need. So again, this is how the universe is preserved through Vishnu here. But what are we really doing? We are preserving people's happiness. We are preserving people's joy. We are preserving people's faith in God. There is so much beauty in the preservation of life. But we have to, if a Shravana Nakshatra native, take our ego out of this situation and truly be able to focus on the devotional energy for our loved ones, and being able to give them what is their true heart's desire. So that's a little bit of an elaboration on Shravana Nakshatra. I hope that was beneficial.
Thank you, Kṣaṇāti. Always so beautifully explained. Love your research always. Can this be, I just a thought, can this be also applied, of course, if somebody's Shravana falls in their third house or wherever it's falling, like, the third house is also communication, right? So it's like if
Sure.
that falls there, then listening to people and making sure listening to their needs and instead of you just talking and blabbering. Just a thought, yeah.
100%. And actually, one of the things, if you have a strong Shravana position in some of the more challenging houses, like 3, 6, 8, 12, it's important that you would apply listening in that area, or you will deal with the suffering. So in communication, yeah, you might have a strong Shravana position in the third house, and you have this big writing project and you have this thing that you want to express. So you're going to express it your way. But guess what? If you express it your way, it might not be received by people. See, a third house Shravana is about taking constructive criticism, because a lot of times with the strong Shravana in the third house position, we can feel confident in our speech and it leads to our success. But that doesn't mean we're perfect in expressing ourselves. So maybe if we're writing a book, we need someone to edit the grammar. We need someone to make the word help us with the vocabulary. So it's really about constructive criticism in the third house. The sixth house is enemies. No one wants to listen to their enemies, but guess what? If you want to evolve through the upachaya energy of the sixth house, you have to listen. Shravana in the eighth house. Shravana in the eighth house, you might think you know what's best for your health. You know what I mean? Oh, well, I know what's best for my health, and I'm eating an all carnivore diet. I'm only eating steak every day. Well, guess what? If someone tells you that you have high blood pressure and high cholesterol, maybe you should change it if you want to have longevity, which the eighth house indicates. So, again, you can kind of see with the Shravana application in the different houses how important listening can really be, right?
Exactly. Thank you. Thank you for explaining that.
Of course. So now I'm going to be discussing Dhanishta Nakshatra. Dhanishta Nakshatra is a cusp nakshatra. So it begins where Shravana ends at 23.2 degrees Capricorn, and it goes to 6.4 degrees Aquarius. So it's a nice chunk in the Capricorn and a nice chunk in the Aquarius. Dhanishta, the wealthy one. The influencing graha is Mars, Mangal. The symbol is often Shiva's drum. And the deity is the Vasudevas. The Vasudevas, which are the givers of prosperity, which are the givers of abundance, which are the givers of wealth, because no wealth is achieved without God's grace. And also, Vasu is associated with brilliance, which comes five of the eight Vasus is coming from the five elements, which is ether, air, fire, water, and earth. So it's important to understand there's a strong elemental nature. Now, the thing is important to understand, especially this can be difficult in a capitalist society. And because there is a concept of element of greed. The Dharma of Dhanishta Nakshatra is to not be greedy. I mean, it's that simple. There is a strong evolutionary energy here, which is to evolve beyond greed. It's important. So, one of the ways that I like to understand this is that it's Dhanishta, the wealthy, which is given by the Vasus, the lords of prosperity, but then it's a Shudra, it's a servant nakshatra. So, how can a servant nakshatra be indicated for wealth? That's because the truly wealthy, like the abundant people, their role is to serve. Like the thing is sometimes people, we all have this disposition to be greedy. Like it's just human nature. You have one ladu, you want a second ladu. Okay? It's this simple. Okay? But some people, they struggle with this. This is actually an addictive, compulsive nakshatra. It doesn't have as much to do with drugs and alcohol as it has to do with different patterns in the life. Gambling, greed, workaholism. These are more of the compulsions that can show up with Dhanishta nakshatra. Because someone is given great wealth, because guess what? Once they receive that great wealth, they're going to give it away. The true dharma of it's yes, it can indicate wealth in Dhanishta nakshatra, but the dharma of Dhanishta nakshatra is what you are doing with your wealth. And remember, wealth is just not material. That's where the Aquarius side of Dhanishta comes in. Wealth is in our consciousness. Wealth is in our wisdom. You know what I'm saying? For example, I lived in Peru in the rainforest for some time. In America, people that are very poor, they're very unhappy. You know what I mean? And I understand that, but it could have to do with the mental mindset because when I went to Peru, there were people, they didn't have any money. They lived in little huts in the middle of the rainforest. But I never saw happier people in my life because they have a relationship with God, they have a relationship with nature, they have a relationship with family, and that means no matter how much money or how little money, they're happy. That is true wealth. True wealth is not millions of dollars in the bank account. True wealth is in your quality of life and it's in your happiness. Because sometimes we can associate money with happiness. Oh, well, this amount of money equals this amount of happiness. And if that is truly your perspective, you will never be happy. You will never be happy if it's money is the answer to your happiness. I always say this, money isn't buy happiness, but being poor sure doesn't help. And that's truly how I feel about this perspective. So when you truly have wealth, because we can only keep what we have, This is the true Dharma of Dhanishta. We can only keep what we have: wealth, money, happiness, joy, wisdom, spiritual teachings. We can only keep the money and the wealth and the happiness and the joy and the spiritual wisdom if we share it. That is the Dharma, is to share what you have. It's not about being rich. It's not about being wealthy. It's that whatever God has graced you with, share it, give it away, help another person out. So the real Dharma of Dhanishta Nakshatra is to be service oriented, to help other people achieve prosperity. You know, I'll give a few different examples. Let's say you have someone who was born very poor. Then, through a series of opportunities and hard work, they achieve material wealth. It would go against the Dharma of Dhanishta Nakshatra to be selfish with that money and greedy and just keep it in your bank account and not give it away. The real Dharma of Dhanishta would be satisfied with material wealth through service to the homeless, to the needy, through charitable organizations, through humanitarian organizations. And actually, because you were a poor person who worked hard and had opportunities to achieve wealth, you have to do the same for someone else. Or guess what? It might be taken away because you don't even deserve wealth if you're not willing to give the same opportunities to someone else that you received. And that's an important thing to understand with the Dharma of Dhanishta. If you want to keep what you have, whether your wealth is material or not, you got to give it away. And that's why Mars is the influencing graha too, because that takes action. I need to develop a nonprofit organization. I need to go to the homeless shelter. I need to, help build, homes for people. I need to develop a scholarship fund so that other people who were poor like me have an opportunity to go to college or go to the university as well. It's like, what opportunities that you were given are you also sharing? This is the Dharma of Dhanishta. It is the opposite of greed. Here's another example. Someone struggles with the alcoholism. Then they have then they nothing is going good in their life because they're just sitting on their couch drinking alcohol, being very sick every day. Then they go to the rehab. Then they start going to something like Alcoholics Anonymous, and they become sober. And then all of a sudden, their life gets incredible. They beget a family. They meet a husband or wife. They start to get a job. They have children. Oh my God, their life is so incredible. Well, guess what? If you don't help another alcoholic, you'll just end up drinking again. Because you can only keep your sobriety by helping other people that have suffered with what you've suffered with, helping them get out of. So what you're going to do, you need to be a sponsor in a 12-step. You need to work at a rehab. You need to volunteer towards other alcoholics. You don't even get to keep your sobriety if you're not helping someone else who's still suffering with alcoholism get another day. So it's this important concept. We can only keep what we have by giving it away. Another example that I like to talk about, let's say someone is faithless. They are an atheist. They don't believe in the God, right? And therefore they do immoral things. And they're sketchy. And they are depressed. And then all of a sudden, they get in a near-death car accident, but their life is saved. And the doctor tells them, listen, you should be dead, but you're still alive. And all of a sudden, they start to notice that if it wasn't for some miracle, that they wouldn't be alive. So then they start to believe in God. Then they start to go to the temple and they pray to Lord Shiva every day. And then over a long period of time, they develop a strong faith in God, a connection with the higher power of their standing, and they become full of God's spirit. Well, guess what? If you keep God's spirit to yourself, you don't deserve to have faith. You have to help other people and grow in their faith. Go to the kirtan, go to the ashram, go to the temple. It is the human condition to struggle with faith. Even the strongest, gurus and the Pope, and they must struggle with faith at some times. And guess what? We need each other and to share each other's miracles and the synchronicities and the alignments and all the blessings that we receive in our life to have this constant faith be reinvigorated. So again, if you went from an atheist to believing in God, you don't have to, that's why people are missionaries. I don't necessarily agree with this, which is like you have to go convert other people, but that's why the energy is there because you didn't have faith. Now you have faith, so you want to help other people have faith too. So the real Dharma of Dhanishta Nakshatra, yes, wealth is something that will come to them. Sometimes it's material, sometimes it's spiritual, sometimes it's freedom, sometimes it's wisdom. But the Dharma of Dhanishta is that you can only keep what you have by giving it away. So if you have wealth, however that wealth manifests in your life, the Dharma is to share it. Share that abundance.
Beautifully explained. I actually didn't know a lot of about Dhanishta Nakshatra, not being greedy and just really being the giver and helping. I thought it was more on wealth, but that's good to know. Thank you.
Yeah, it's like sharing all that wealth, So here's one last example. So if someone's very wealthy, I have a friend. He has a beautiful Dhanista position. Very humble guy, rich, millionaire. Whenever me and my friends think we go out to eat with him, he always pays for dinner. It's like, yeah, it's about wealth, but the question is what are you doing with the wealth? So yes, you're wealthy. Well, don't be greedy. Share that wealth. Take your friends out and buy them a sandwich. Like it doesn't break your bank when you have $5 million to go spend $100 or $200 on a meal for everyone. That could be someone's whole paycheck in a week, but for you, it's just some number sitting in a bank account. So it's really about the conquering of greed. Yes, like, so with each nakshatra, it's definitely about wealth. But with wealth comes greed. And the dharma of Dhanishta is to conquer against our greed, right?
Yeah, thank you.
Perfect. So Shatabhisha. Now, this is obviously one of my favorite nakshatras. This is the strongest nakshatra in my chart as a Rahu Shatabhisha ascendant. And a lot of my close friends, they're Shatabhisha because it's a vibe. It's a vibe. Satyabhishak is in the heart of Aquarius. It goes from 6.4 degrees Aquarius to the 20th degree. Its influencing graha is Rahu. Right here, Rahu. I just got this Rahu tattoo. I hope everyone can see it. It's a weird angle, but I'm very happy that I got it. And its deity is Varuna. And we're going to talk more about Varuna here. Siddha Bishak means 100 stars, 100 asterisms, but it's often translated as the 100 flowers, which is the 100 medicines. But it's important to understand that, or 1,000 as well sometimes. And then it can also be the 100 or 1,000 poisons, the 100 or 1,000 toxins. As we get into Satyabhishak, we'll really understand this. The Satyabhishak Nakshatra, it's the healer. Satyabhisha is the healer, right? Now, in understanding healing, there's this important concept in Ayurveda. See, in Western medicine, it's like, oh, you have this issue, take this medication. All people are treated the exact same. But guess what? Ayurveda teaches us that no two people are the same. Everyone is uniquely different, has a unique constitution, has a unique balance of vata, pitta, and kapha dosha that makes them. Everyone has different gunas. Some of us are warm, some of us are cold, some of us are oily, some of us are dry, some of us are sharp, some of us are soft. Like there's all these gunas that we learn about in Ayurveda that actually affect our body and affect our personality. So this is where the concept of the 100 medicines and the 100 poisons is formed. There's an age-old saying which I like to use to describe Shatabhisha Nakshatra, and that's that one man's meat is another man's poison. Nothing, no flour, no herb, no medication is purely evil or purely positive. It is all about the constitution of the individual, how they're using it, why they're using it, when they're using it. I'll give perfect example. In the drugs in the street, huge problem in Philadelphia is heroin and fentanyl. We would think that this is the most evil substance because it's killing people. 3% of the world's population dies from fentanyl every year now. Right? 3 out of 100 people die from fentanyl a year. So we think that that's evil. Well, guess what? When you go get surgery and you have your leg that's broken repaired and everything around it is inflamed, and you would be in so much excruciating pain if they didn't give you morphine for your surgery. Guess what? Morphine and heroin are the same chemical. So even the most, and I get a chill. Yes, the drug problem is the biggest in the world, but you couldn't have surgery without morphine. If you went home after the dentist and you had a root canal and you don't have a painkiller for 2 days, guess what? You will probably want to jump in front of a car. So this is the understanding is the Dharma of Shatabhisha, and this has been such a journey for me, is to know thyself. Know what your medicines are and know what your poisons are. And just because that's true for you doesn't mean that's true for everyone else. Because how can you be a healer if you know what your poisons are, but you're still consuming them? The Dharma of being a healer, which is associated with Shatabhisha Nakshatra, it's not even released till you listen to your spirit. You know, it's important to so don't listen to what society tells you. This is good for you and this is bad for you. You know, oh, you should go on what's that weight loss drug that's everyone's on? Ozempic. You should go on Ozempic and you should be on medical marijuana and all of these things that all of society tells you is good for you. Well, guess what? Now research is showing Ozempic causes thyroid cancer. And medical marijuana is so strong that it turns everyone into a drug addict if you do it every day. So nothing. Now, if you have if you're a diabetes and you have obesity, then yeah, maybe Ozempic can help you stabilize your blood sugar and get out of the obese category. But you have all these skinny moms that are taking it just to look skinnier. That is so toxic.
Yeah, it can really, because my mom was put on it for some time before, and my mom's pretty like slim. And then when she, like that time we didn't know. And then because she had to take it, so when she was taking, she was losing like tremendous like weight. And I feel that there is a lot of side effect. Like you said, there is some sort of like cancer that happens after when people are taking it. It's really toxic, actually.
Yeah. And so, and But for some people, for the diabetes, obese person, for a little while, it could be helpful.
Yeah.
If you have cancer and you're so sick from the chemotherapy that you can't eat, medical marijuana will give you an appetite. But everyone is using medical marijuana just to get high. So it's again all these different examples, and there's a million more. Peanut is a high protein food, which is good for the nutrition. Well, guess what? If you have a peanut allergy, it will kill you. So to really investigate and be honest with yourself about, regardless of what other people tell you, regardless of what society says, this thing in my life is a medicine or a poison. And guess what? It's not just food and drugs. People, right? Some people are medicine for us, and other people are poison. And it's important for us, if you have Shatabhisha, to be a healer. You can't surround yourself with toxic people because they'll poison you before you can heal them. So it's important with Shatabhisha to protect yourself, which is to know yourself, which is to know that this food is not medicine, which is to know that this person is medicine, which is to know that I should be sober and not, doing drugs. Like all of these different lessons are very, very strong in Shatabhisha, which is Shatabhisha wants to lead people to purity. And a lot of times with purity, we think that it's an additional thing, which means, okay, well, I want to become more pure. So I need more CoQ10. I need more kombucha. I need more. It's purity is not about what you're adding to your life. It's about what you're subtracting that's toxic. It's a minimalization energy in which we become pure, in which we become the healer. True healing is not this complicated, I need a million different supplements answer. It's very simple. I just need to be healthy and have a good relationship with myself. Satyabhisha can live the longest life of many of the nakshatras. So this is why they have to have a very deep understanding of what's good for them and what's bad. Um, the number one cause of disease in Ayurveda, Charak, the great Ayurvedic scholar, wrote this. The number one cause of disease is prajnaparad, which means crimes against wisdom. How often, it's not even saying that one slice of pizza or two slices of pizza is evil. It's about the moment. See, that's Satyabhishak. Okay, I just had an epiphany about this. The true Satyabhishak Dharma is to be present in the moment and be a clear enough channel or vessel so that in the moment you can listen to your consciousness. Because in that moment, it will tell you what is the good thing or is the bad thing. Like pizza is not evil. Nothing. Satyabhishak teaches us nothing is evil. Everything is either dependent on so many factors. One slice of the best margarita pizza, if you don't have the celiac allergy, yeah. You have the second slice, your consciousness doesn't tell you nothing is wrong. But you go to eat that third slice, and then there's this ping in your consciousness that goes, you know what? This might not be a good idea. Right? Yet sometimes, and it's about the restrainment of compulsion is important because Rahu, you give it a piece of pizza, it wants a second. You give it a second, it wants a third. You give it a third, it wants a fourth. There's the issue with Satyabhisha, it's very hard to know when you're satisfied. So to listen and be pure enough in your consciousness to say, you know what? My consciousness told me I might get a stomach ache and gain some weight if I eat that third slice of pizza. So guess what? I'm not. I need to be content with the two. That is the true journey, is contentedness and being present in the moment. Now, the last thing I wanted to say is Varuna. Varuna as the influencing deity of this nakshatra. Uh, Varuna is the person is often seen as the one who judges, right? Who judges people for their karma, right? That can seem scary, but one of the things is that it is associated with remorse. Because just as Varuna will be harsh and judge us harshly, it will also, Varuna wants to forgive us. So what is the Dharma associated with this? It is about your conscience. Guess what? Sometimes human beings, especially Satabhisha people, we can have bad moods. Guess what? Every single human has a bad mood. So someone comes up to you and you're in a bad mood because you didn't sleep well, and someone goes, "Hey, how's your day going?" And you just give them a look. Remember, it's an Aquarius. This is such an Aquarius trait. And you just give them a look, and you're like, "Go away." Well, guess what? You were just an asshole for no reason. And Varuna now will test you. See, this is how Satabishak works. So you were just mean to someone for no reason. Well, Varuna will punish you if you don't apologize. But guess what? If you go and you say, "Hey, I'm sorry, man. I didn't sleep well last night and I'm just not in a good mood. My bad for being sharp." Varuna will forgive you. See, this has been said, and I don't like this because I'm obviously Satabishak, but I understand it. They say Satabishak is cursed. The reason that is because it's a karma nakshatra. All nakshatras, this is one where you will deal with karma instantly. You do something and you don't feel bad for something, and something you bad as did, Varuna will smack you across the face. As long as you feel conscience. See, sometimes it's you don't even have an opportunity to forgive that person. Why do people in Christian Catholic Church, they go and they ask for forgiveness from the priest and they do some Hail Marys? That's because there is an energy in remorse. God, Varuna, the divine, it wants to forgive you, but you have to realize that you want to be forgiven. So the real dharma of Satabishak Nakshatra is to have a conscience and to feel remorse, right? I mean, I'll just think of the most tragic example just so you can understand how intense this can be. Let's say that someone is driving on the road, drunk driving, and they're drunk, which means they're not thinking clearly. They shouldn't have been driving, but when you're drinking, you don't have a conscience. So this is what happens. And then they hit someone and they kill them. So tragic, so horrible. Now, the law will give them a manslaughter and a DUI, and they'll probably have to go to jail. But I'm not talking about law, I'm talking about God. If the person isn't feel guilty, if the person doesn't have conscience, the karmic consequences for that act will be devastating in this lifetime and in many lifetimes to come. Now, the person will have karma regardless of their conscience because they took someone's life. But let's say that they did that and they said, "Oh my gosh, I'm an alcoholic. I need to get sober." And they don't drink ever again. And they go to that family's person and they apologize. They pray every night begging God for forgiveness. The karmic consequence is reduced. So this is why they say, "Oh, Satabishak is cursed." It's not cursed, it's also blessed. But you will get opportunities that you have to feel guilty for. And it's important that you do feel the guilt, that you do feel the remorse, so you can ask God for forgiveness. And if there's an opportunity to make amends, which is to make things right in the life for the people that you've hurt, this is where the full potential of Shatabhisha, so you can become a healer. Because that's the true Dharma of a healer. It's not to be perfect, because no one is perfect. But to heal is to say, you know what? The things that you've done that were imperfect, it's okay. God will forgive you. Just recognize that you want to be forgiven and that you feel guilty because this has gone against your moral and ethical fibers. So it's really, again, the Dharma of Satyabhishak is know thyself. One man's meat is another man's poison. Having a strong conscience, seeking amends with people, and trying to understand that it's our conscience which creates our karma. So if we have remorse, Varuna will want to forgive us. But if we are narcissistic and have no remorse for our evil actions, get ready to be crushed. So I
Oh,
hope this was a helpful elaboration on these nakshatras. I'm so excited.
really wonderful and really informative. And it's always a great learning. Thank you, Kṣaṇāti.
Thank you, Navjeet. I'll be back in the next couple of weeks. We'll finish out this series and we'll do Purva Bhadrapada, Uttar Bhadra, and Revati Nakshatra.
Perfect. Thank you. I hope you guys all enjoyed. Thank you so much. Namaste, Kṣaṇāti.
Namaste, Navjeet.